to feel this is their year. They must be playing defensive. Schmeichel's not coming up for this one. Thinks he's done enough. Is this their moment? It's a Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it! Manchester United have reached the promised land. Oli Solskjaer, 2 substitutes, have scored the 2 goals in stoppage time. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel, and we're back with another morning news show. Apologies, I haven't been back the last couple of days. I've just been a bit under the weather, so trying to regroup. But yeah, look, we're back. Another morning news show. Plenty to talk about, guys. Looking forward to getting into it. Marley, I see you in the chat there as well. Thanks to everyone who's joined, guys. If you haven't already done so, hit the thumbs up button for me. Helps out the channel an awful lot. But you're all more than welcome. Leonardo is in there as well. Appreciate it. With the intro. But yeah, you're more than welcome, guys. We've got plenty to talk about this morning. We have, Manchester United seem to be, according to reports, in the market for a new centre-back. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a right-back and a player that we've been linked with again. We were linked with him last year as well, not as strongly as we are this year. So that's going to be an interesting one as well going forward. We're going to talk about Wout Weghorst as well. Obviously, he's come under a lot of criticism over the last couple of weeks in relation to his performances. His goal returns haven't been the best. But Ten Hag seems to like him, and he's come out with some praise for him. So we'll talk about that as well. We're also going to talk about some updates on the potential takeover of Manchester United. We'll talk about other things as well, like Luke Shaw signing a new contract. And we're going to talk about Mitrovic as well for a minute because he's got a ban. So we'll discuss that before the end as well. But you're all more than welcome, guys. Please get your thoughts into the chat below as well. Niall is in there as well. Morning, lads. Off today. Don't get a look in when at work. No problem at all. Now, well, look, I mean, if you can't watch in the morning, they're there in the evening for you anyway to catch up on. But you're more than welcome, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Smash a like on the video. But look, we'll jump straight into it. And let's start with this man, Min Jae. And it's been, an interesting couple of days in relation to being linked with him because, you know, we have been linked with him before. These links have been going on for the last couple of months. And, obviously, Manchester United are not the only team that are going to be linked with this guy. And as we can see by reports here, Manchester United, Liverpool and Tottenham have expressed interest in activating Min Jae's £40 million release clause. It's been reported in a lot of different areas. So we have it here on Goal as well. And, obviously Craig Hope is doing it here in the Daily Mail. Now, look, let's get into this. I mean, this player is, 26 years of age, a very good footballer, and is in, a staple in the Napoli team at the moment. That's absolutely, I think they lost on the weekend, but they're basically running away with Serie A. And I don't think Napoli have won Serie A since Diego Maradona played with him. So, they're on for great things there. And this guy is key to what they're trying to do. What they're trying to achieve this season. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano come out and said that United are keeping tabs on Min Jae, but Kim is 100% focused on Napoli. So it's not the time for offers now. And look, that's, obviously something that is quite common. These players are not going to want to get involved in, in transfer negotiations, especially with the likes of a Napoli player who are on for, creating history at the club. So, that's quite understandable there. But I think a player of his standards that has a release clause of €40 million or £40 million, so about €45 million, it's for nothing, really. It really isn't. And Manchester United, of course, I won't say we're fully in the market for a new centre-back because from the reports we've been getting over the last few days, it's basically been centre forward, centre midfield, and right back as the 1, 2, 3 priorities. But when you have a player like Min Jae coming up on the transfer market, potentially with a buyout clause of £45 million, you have to go and be interested in him. You really do. Now, whether United do go out and get him, it depends on other transfers, I suppose. I don't think we can go in for Kim Min Jae early in the transfer window, and that's my worry about it. Reason being is that obviously our striker, number 9, is top priority. We cannot go into next season without an established number 9. We do need more cover at centre midfield, potentially a number 8. So I think that will be second priority. And I think then we'll be looking at right back, centre backs. I think they're kind of 50-50 in relation to maybe a priority. So I think going in for Kim Min Jae, I don't see it as something that could be done really early. And the reason I say that is because Man United's financial fair play regulations are probably going to come in to account this summer if we don't sell players. Now, obviously we're going to be moving on players like, hopefully, Phil Jones is first on the list, really, isn't he? His contract is up. But, you're talking about, are we going to move on Harry Maguire? Are we going to move on Scott McTominay, Brandon Williams, Axel Tuanzebe, even talks of Wan-Bissaka, these types of players. We are going to have to sell players if we're going to want to buy players as well, which is something that is going to be crucial for Manchester United. So I think the purse strings, although they may be not as tight as we may have thought, but I think we are going to have to prioritize signings 1, 2, and 3 in terms of positions that we need him. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what we do with Kim Min Jae. I want to look at some of his stats in relation to, how good of a player he is. And, obviously, if we look here, 27 appearances this season, 2,362 minutes played, 2 goals and 1 assist. So a good return from a defender. Now, we're looking at his spider chart here. And this is something that, it's something that, I do like in relation to, what we're looking at and percentage areas that he's in. Now, when you're playing with a top club that's running away with a league, you tend to not be in the top percentile for a number of different things because you don't have to worry about them. Your team is playing so well that you tend to get a lot of protection from your midfield and so on and so forth. But if we look at here, this is something that I've been quite impressed with. Passes. He's in the top 7% in the whole of the Serie A. Now, that includes defenders, attackers, midfielders. So that's something that I'm really, really happy to see if we do decide to go and get him. Obviously, Ten Hag likes to play a passing game. He likes to play out from the back. He likes to have defenders who are comfortable on the ball, a.k.a. Varane Martinez, a.k.a. not Harry Maguire. So that's good to see. Recoveries here, he's in the top 21%. Now, again, this might not seem like he's very good at recoveries, but then it goes back to what we were saying about Napoli are basically running away with the league over in Serie A. So you tend to not have to be in a high percentile range for that. Aerial duels is very good as well, top 8% in Serie A. Carries then are the top 30%. So, carrying out from defence, I don't think it's something that Ten Hag would be too worried about. He likes to get his defenders to pass the ball out from the back rather than, we see Harry Maguire, crazily running out from the back into midfield and then stopping, So I think that's something that's not something too much of a concern. So look, I mean, the stats there for Kim Min Jae do look like good ones. I think it would be a very good option for Manchester United to go out. He's a right-footed centre-back as well, which means he would probably be going up head-to-head with Varane. And I think that's probably a good head-to-head to have, given the fact that, Varane is over the age of 30 now. And he is probably the defender out of the two centre-backs that you would like to be able to give a rest to more, than Martinez, for example, who's younger, So look, I think it would be a good option for Manchester United. Keane says, I don't think he would join because of how great Napoli are this season. Don't get me wrong, I would love him at United, but if Napoli win the Scudetto or the Champions League, it's kind of a downgrade. I understand what you're saying, Keane, there. I really do. And I think it would be the case that if Napoli win the Serie A and or the Champions League this season, I think it would have the kind of effect that Inter Milan had when they won it. They sold some of their players after they won it under Mourinho. Mourinho knew he was leaving the end of that season anyway, regardless. I think that would probably be the issue and the same with Napoli. I think it would be seen as, we've gone and won you the league, now we want our move, and look, I mean, the Serie A, as good a league as it is, it's nowhere near as good as the Premier League. And I think these type of players that have certain ambitions, Min Jae is 26 years of age, he's going to want to make a move before it's too late. You don't want him to turn into an Upamecano or somebody like that, or sorry, not Upamecano, who's the player that joined Chelsea, everyone was trying to get for 5 or 6 years, but he's left it too late. So look, let's see what happens. I would love to get him, but again, going back to it, I do think there is higher priorities on the list. Now, let's move it on to we'll go from centre back to right back, and as we've seen over the last few days, we have been linked with Frimpong of Bayern Leverkusen. And again, this is coming from Teddy Goal, which is Florian Plettenberg. He's a Sky journalist in Germany. He says that Manchester United are a very interesting option for Jeremy Frimpong, with Erik Ten Hag enthusiastic about a potential deal and United keen to sign him. That has led to concrete talks about a move. So that sounds very good. It seems like Manchester United are already opening talks about signing Frimpong, and it's good. So it does look like we're prioritising right back as an option this season, and I think we should be. Now, let's talk about our two current right backs, and Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. While both have had good spells throughout the season, Dalot started the season really well, had a really good first half of the season up until the World Cup, and hasn't been the same since. Wan-Bissaka, on the other hand, has stepped in and had a really good second half of the season. Are both players good enough right backs if we want to be challenging for the Premier League? I don't think they are. I just don't think they are. Now, let's talk about Frimpong. Frimpong is an excellent attacking fullback. He's not a great defensive fullback, I have to admit. Now, I'm not going to be going out and putting him in the category of Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example. He's probably not as good as Trent going forward, but he's probably not as bad a defender as Trent Alexander-Arnold is going in the opposite direction. But I think it's a good option for Manchester United. I think he would be very similar to Dalot, where they're better going forward than they are defensively. Now, there has been reports suggested this season and that in the summer, Manchester United are going to listen to offers for Wan-Bissaka. Now, if you're going out for a Frimpong, now this is just my opinion, I would be looking at keeping Wan-Bissaka and maybe getting rid of Dalot instead of Frimpong, because Dalot and Frimpong are so similar. I think if we got Frimpong and kept Wan-Bissaka, I think it would give you a good contrast of an attacking fullback and a defensive fullback. Now, it all depends on which players want to stay, which players want to go. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments in relation to Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. If we are to go out and get a Frimpong, which player would you like to see us keep? But look, it is good to see that we are being linked with these types of players. It means Ten Hag is currently is consistently and always wanting to upgrade the squad. And that's what we do need if we're going to want to move, closer to challenging the likes of your, Man Cities and Arsenals this season and stuff, and really having a go at the Premier League. Let's see what people are saying here. Niall says, I'd agree, keep Wan-Bissaka. And Keane says, I think a swap deal for Frimpong and Dalot. Maybe so. But I do think, though, Keane, the one thing I would say about that is I think Bayer Leverkusen already have a deal on the table for a new right back. I think they've got a pre-contract agreement. I think the deal is pretty much done for a new right back to come in to take the place of Frimpong. So it does look like he's going to move. Manchester United do seem to be poised in a good position for him. If these reports are to be believed, we're probably going to have a new right back in the summer, which is good. You know what I mean? Can't deny it's, how good it is. Now, let me just get a drink of water here because I've got a very dry throat this morning. But look, I think it's good. I think if good options come up, regardless of the area of the field that they're in, I think we should be looking at, potentially going out and getting them. And look, if we get hopefully we'll get new owners. We'll get onto that in a minute, but hopefully we'll have new owners that'll invest properly. We'll be able to buy players and see how it goes. Now, let's go from one end of the field to the other. And obviously I want to talk about Wout Weghorst, because he has come under a bit of criticism over the last few weeks, given his return in goals. He scored 2 goals, in, is it 18 games? I think 19 games. And it's not a good return when it comes to a striker and a number 9. Now, I've consistently said that I think Weghorst's contribution to the team has been quite good. His work rate is fantastic. He's able to do a certain amount of jobs. His pressing is really good. His link-up play is really good. And I think he creates space for other players. I don't think Rashford, for example, would have as many goals since the World Cup if Wout Weghorst wasn't the type of player that he is. And he's come under a bit of criticism. We know he's not good enough to lead the line for Manchester United on a long-term basis. He's a stopgap between now and the end of the season. But Ten Hag has come out with some praise for him. And Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic has been saying this: Weghorst's availability has been a blessing for Ten Hag, who is open to him staying longer than his loan. But if he is to remain part of next season's squad, he needs to be one of 4 used off the bench and in specific circumstances. So, look, I think this is something that we're quite aware of about Weghorst, that if he is to stay at Manchester United next season, it's going to be at a very limited capacity. He's not going to get an awful lot of games. I do think, and I've said it over the last few weeks, that I do think Manchester United need 2 strikers in the summer. Now, we're not going to go out and sign a Harry Kane and a Victor Osimhen, for example. You get one, and then you get maybe an up-and-coming player, an Evan Ferguson, for example, like we mentioned before. And I think an Evan Ferguson would be the ideal backup to a Harry Kane, given the fact that, in 2 or 3 years' time, if Harry Kane is 33, 34 years of age, you have a 21, 22-year-old Evan Ferguson who's ready to take over, but is still consistently getting anywhere between 15 and 20 games a season under Ten Hag. I think it would be the ideal scenario. I would then be happy for Weghorst to stay as a third option. If Martial goes, I don't know what this scenario is going to be with Martial in the summer. Look, we'll see how fit he stays between now and the end of the season. I would be open for him to go. If he stays, I'm okay with it as well. But Martial is going to have his work cut out to get into the squad next season. Look, if we don't go out and sign a backup option to a Harry Kane or a Victor Osimhen, because it does look like we're going to go out and sign a top-tier striker, hopefully, Martial is going to have to stay fit, but he's probably going to be limited. And he probably knows that, depending on who we go out and sign in the summer. Martial probably knows that his game time is going to be limited next season. So I'm okay with Wout Weghorst staying on in maybe a third striker capacity. Niall says, he gives us all but won't win you games. Exactly. Keane says, but I think Martial is better than Wout. And he also says, Jack, are we going to be discussing about Ten Hag being impatient with Sancho? Yeah, look, I mean, when it comes to Jadon Sancho, I'm running out of patience with him. I said it a couple of weeks ago that I think he'll be given this season and next season to prove himself. Now, we seen Anthony on the weekend, even though there was no real standout performances for Manchester United against Newcastle. I thought Anthony was our best player, but he got substituted. And Jadon Sancho hasn't been really given us anything this season when he has played. Obviously, he got that break. And when he has come back, I haven't really been impressed with him, I have to say. He's got a long way to go to prove himself to get in as a regular. We know the standard and the quality that he has. We really do. But he's got to up his game, and he's got to up it quick, because I don't see United probably going out and getting a winger this season. But next season, Antony needs to contribute more. Sancho needs to up his game. And if they don't, we'll be in the market for a winger next summer. So, yeah, look, I can understand why Ten Hag has been giving him time and has been patient with him. You have to take man management, different cases of it in different scenarios on the basis of different players. So, look, some players need a rollicking. Some players need an arm around him. I think that's what Jadon Sancho is. He's not exempt from criticism. Jadon Sancho is like any other Manchester United player. We can call it like it is when we see poor performances. But I'm going to give him another 12 months up until the end of next season. And let's see how he goes. Look, we've spent a lot of money on him. We know there's really good potential there. Give him till the end of next season. And if he improves, brilliant. If he doesn't, let's sell. He's not a Ten Hag signing anyway. So, you know, we can cut our losses there with that as well. You know what I mean? Let me just write that down. Brilliant. Right, let's move it on to the potential takeover, guys, of Manchester United and some updates from Mike Keegan. He says those involved in the bidding process, which include Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, are yet to hear back from the Rain Group after a delayed second bids went in last month, a couple of weeks ago now. So it's coming up on 2 weeks since the bids went in. The second bids went in for Manchester United, and obviously the Glazers are still debating on what they're going to do. So there's no real updates. Just wanted to bring you this in relation to it. Now, there has been reports suggesting over the last few days that there could potentially be some pushback from the UK government in relation to the Qatari bid if they are to take over, given the protests from LGBTQ plus community. And look, they're well within their rights to protest whatever they want. But reports have suggested, again in the past couple of days, those behind the Qatari bid for Manchester United do not believe they will face any government opposition should they succeed in the battle for the Premier League giants Manchester United. Qatari bid feels that they have support from the government and would not face any obstacles should they emerge successful from the ongoing bid process. And as we see here, senior government figures have privately said they would actually welcome Qatar-based investment on Manchester United, despite opposition from LGBTQ plus and human rights groups, especially if it included community funding, which has previously been outlined. So look, interesting reports here coming out, and I don't see there being any... There's going to be pushback, and there's going to be people who are not happy with the bids of Qatar, and equally Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos bid, given their quite sketchy environmental issues that they've gone through as well. So look, you're going to have people love to protest, you know what I mean? And they're within their rights to protest. Of course they are. But I don't see it as being an issue. I really don't. So look, we're waiting to hear back still from the Rain Group, the Glazers in relation to the last round of bidding. Let's hope it's successful. The quicker we can get these done, the better. You know, obviously, I think we're probably going to have a new round of bidding. I think we'll have a third round before any decision is made. But let's see what happens. The quicker we can get done, the quicker we can get new owners in, the quicker we can forecast and plan for the summer transfer window and the future of Manchester United. So bring it on. The quicker it can happen, the better. But yeah, and of course, we'll bring you updates as we get them. Now, some positive news for Manchester United in relation to returns of players. It has been reported by Samuel Luckhurst that United should be able to start Casemiro and Eriksen this week. Obviously, we know Casemiro has 2 games to serve domestically for his suspension. One of them will be tomorrow night. So next week, then, obviously, we have the Europa League returning. And so it's good. You know what I mean? Christian Eriksen is, due to return ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting him and Casemiro back in the team together. I really am. he's been missed. He really, really, really has been missed. And, you know, we said it at the start of the season that I was worried if we did get injuries that, you know, the depth of the squad wouldn't really hold up. But we've seen Casemiro and Eriksen being out. All of a sudden, the depth of the squad looks very minimal. You know what I mean? And similarly with the likes of Martial being injured and Garnacho being injured, all of a sudden our front line looks very thin as well. I think at the back we're okay. We've got 4 centre backs. We've got 2 right backs. We've got 2 left backs. But I think in midfield and our forward line, you know, can be quite thin when we've got some injuries and suspensions with Casemiro. So that's good to see. Good to see. Moving on then, shout out to this man, new 4-year deal for Luke Shaw. Obviously, I haven't been on since he signed it. Shaw signs a new contract until 2027. Really happy for Luke Shaw, I have to say. I think he deserves it on the back of some good performances this year. I think he does have to be more consistent. You know, we've seen over the years that Luke Shaw has tended to, you know, come in and out of form quite regularly. But he has been really, really good this season, I have to say. He's up there with one of the best left backs in the Premier League this season. So, look, I've been really happy. I think he deserves the new contract. But the one thing I don't want to see now is Luke Shaw getting a new 4-year deal and going, lovely, let's just chill out here now. I've got a new 4-year deal. Can't have it, you know. And we've got a very capable backup option in relation to Terrell Malacia as well. So Luke Shaw needs to be on his toes. He really, really does need to be on his toes. But he deserves it. He's been one of the best left backs in the league this season. But he needs to keep on his game. He really does need to keep on his game and make sure that he's keeping Malacia out of the team. But I think it's a healthy position at the moment, our left back area. I think we've got 2 good left backs and, you know, I'm really happy with that position. And I think Ten Hag is really happy with that position as well. So, look, really happy. And Niall makes a great point there as well. He came good since Mourinho tried to write him off. Exactly. He's been through the ringer with Manchester United in general. You know, obviously that horrendous injury that he had early on in Van Gaal's reign. And then Mourinho obviously basically calling him, you know, he just basically saying he's not a good footballer. He can't, you know, get himself through games. Mourinho has to talk him through games. He had a really good resurgence under Solskjaer, but then kind of fell off again. And now we're seeing him back again under Ten Hag. So let's hope he can, you know, keep his consistency on a more regular basis now. But look, like I said, he does deserve the new contract. And I'm glad to see it's a 4-year deal. Manchester United are probably protecting their asset as well, you know, and, you know, keeping their options open. So, you know, really happy for Luke Shaw. I just want to talk about this as well, guys, with Mitrovic. He gets an 8-match ban for the incident that happened against Manchester United. Now, there's a lot of people discussing. Some people are saying it's not enough. Some people are saying it's too much. I think it's probably spot on, if I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people saying, you know, it should have been a Cantona-style ban. You know, he should have been gone for 6 or 7 months for what he done. I think that would have been too extreme, I have to say. Equally, I would say, so like people were saying, you know, once it happened that, you know, well, what about Bruno Fernandes doing it to the linesman? I don't think there's any comparison in it. I really don't. And that's not me trying to, you know, defend Bruno for what he done. But Mitrovic was a lot more aggressive in relation to the referee. He was. So I think 8 games is right. I think people saying that he needs to be banned like Erik Cantona is going too far on the other end of that as well. Look, Erik Cantona jumped into the crowd and started boxing the head off a supporter. So, look, I don't think there's any comparison between that either. Subsequently, I don't think there's any comparison between Bruno and Mitrovic either. So, look, I think the 8 games is probably right. I think the referees do need more protection. I think rules and regulations, like, I think rules and regulations need to come in to the game in relation to protecting referees. I am so sick of players surrounding the referee on every decision. I'm sick of it. It's ruining the game. It's taking time away out of the game. It's slowing down the game. The referees don't have enough discipline. They should be saying, if there's dissent, then move the ball 10 yards forward, or get out a yellow card and give a lad a yellow card if he talks back to the referee. Like, the captain should be the only one that's been able to talk to the referee. There should be a 10-yard radius around the referee at all times. These kind of things. I think it would speed up the game. I think there would be less time where the ball is out of play and we're actually playing. The average of 55 minutes has been played in games in the Premier League out of 90. And I think a lot of it comes down to, players bitching and moaning over decisions, surrounding the referee. I think the referee should be mic'd up. I think we should be able to hear what they're saying. And I think that would probably stop players coming up and shouting and roaring in their face as well. I think they need more protection. On the flip side, they need to improve also. But I think they do need that protection first and foremost. Let me know what you think in the comments below, guys, in relation to referees. Do you think, obviously, I think a lot of people are going to be quite similar in relation to, obviously we want referees to improve. There's been a lot of decisions that have not gone down well this season. Obviously, a lot of it is to do with VAR. But let me know what you think about referees in relation to protection. Do you think they need more protection? Do you think they need more power to stop players from dissent, from getting up in their face, from, slowing down the game? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Niall says, spot on, players have short enough careers without banning them over heat of the moment incidents. There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's in relation to Mitrovic. And I just wanted to finish. I like to finish on a positive note. As much as I can. And I just wanted to show you this graphic. I'm not whether you've seen it or not. And this is top 6 teams and which player at each top 6 club recovers the ball the most from loose balls. And as we can see here, Bruno Fernandes is the number 1 for Manchester United. 166 ball recoveries for Manchester United. We've got Rodri for Man City, Højbjerg for Spurs, Saliba for Arsenal, Trent for Liverpool, and Thiago Silva for Chelsea. We've got Bruno in 4th place in relation to ball recoveries. So now look, and I know Bruno Fernandes has been getting criticism an awful lot from opposition and from some Manchester United fans. His goal return is not the same as it was when he first signed, but we're playing a different style of football. I think Bruno Fernandes' work rate is absolutely phenomenal. I've always said it has been. And I think his goal involvements is still up there with the best in the league, whether it be goals he scored, assists. Actually, if you go goals, assists, and further back before the assist, Bruno is involved in a lot of the build-up play of goals. I've been really happy with Bruno. Obviously, there's been parts of his game and his mentality that he does have to improve on in terms of his petulance. I think it's getting better. I think Ten Hag has got a lot of these silly 50, 60-yard balls out of his game. He still does it every now and again, and we do have to take the rough and the smooth with Bruno. But I'm happy to see that stat there in relation to, him getting some good some good feedback, because I think he's been very good, and I think he's vital to the way Manchester United have been wanting to play this year under Ten Hag. Let's see what Keane has to say. I agree. Makes football boring. There's no more excitement and just ruins football. Football is about goals, and you're getting no goals when you're surrounding the referee, and it happens a lot with Villa. There we go. So Keane is on the ball there as well. I agree with you, Keane. Absolutely, I do. But yeah, guys, look, we're going to leave it there. Really enjoyable news show this morning. I have to say we got through a lot there as well. I appreciate all the comments in the chat as well. If you're watching back to this at a later stage, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think about referees protection. Let me know what you think about Min Jae 40 million release clause. Is it a no-brainer for Manchester United? let me know. And we've discussed, let me know in your comments in the comment section below. Please smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be back tonight for the watch along. Manchester United at home to Brentford. Huge game in Manchester United's chase for top 4. So yeah, looking forward to that. We're going to be live tonight from 7:30. So if you want to tune into that, make sure you do. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Until tonight, take it easy.